Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, Adeptus Titanicus, a channel dedicated to games of engine kill in the 31st millennium. I'm your host, Dan Porter, and this is the first game of our Adeptus Titanicus channel. Now, you'll notice somebody's joined me here who's normally sat where I am.
Yes.
How is that for you, David, feeling being on the other side of the table?
I'm a bit nervous, but that's all right. You know, I've got a lot on my plate. I can only manage 30k.
You can.
And when the call went out for someone to take over Titanicus, Dan replied, and I couldn't be happier, if I'm honest with you. It's a definite safe pair of hands.
Thank you very much. Let's hope that trust is well-founded. Well-founded. I should do my best. Anyway, so we're going to be playing our first game of Adeptus Titanicus on the channel. This and the second game that we're going to do is going to be out on YouTube. So if you are watching this now, lots of the other content going forward will be on the 30k channel, subscription fee, but this is part of us generating more content for you to say you got more value for money, which is already good value for money, I would argue.
I reckon.
Yeah. So this is our first game. We're going to do a very, very simple game at first. It's a game of Titanic Clash. It's 675 points aside, so just shy of the battle level skirmish in the match play rules. Obviously, these are not legal lists because at the time of recording, they've only just released the Reavers.
Absolutely. So
you can't actually make a full a maniple of any kind for match play. However, that's good because we're going to go through the rules in some detail, and we're going to show you as much of the game as we can, so to give you a feel for how the game plays as well. So what are we looking at here, David?
Well, we are looking at two really, really awesome Legios painted by Dan Collister and Dan Wheeler. So we've got Legio Mortis and Legio Atarus.
That's correct.
Supported by their respective banners. So we've got Malanax and Kolchak, yeah. So the two guys did a fantastic job. They're both very close to the channel and really appreciate the effort that they've done for that. But essentially, we're just using the models from the box set.
We are. This is, if you're playing the first games of Titanicus with just the Grandmaster set, or I know some third-party suppliers have put together packages so you could do equivalent to that, because I know they sold out really quickly. So if you're playing your first games, these are what your first games are going to look like as well if you're playing with your mates. So, yeah, that's what we're going to replicate today. I should say as well, it's quite interesting that you've got 3 Dans involved in this. One would suggest a trinity of Dans.
Oh,
it's probably a very good thing.
It's very confusing on messaging. You know, well, Dan sent you a message. Cool, okay. I'm anticipating a message from Dan Porter. But it's actually from Dan Collister. Anyway, it's fine, but it's good.
So here we are. So we've got Atarus, Malanax. The outline for this scenario is very, very simple. 2 scouting forces have essentially come across each other in the wilderness. We've got quite a nice deserty kind of board with some excellent terrain we managed to procure yesterday.
Went down to a local aquarium.
Indeed.
Purchased loads of stuff.
You've got an odd purchasing habit on your card, I'm sure. But we're going to play that game. We're going to play it to conclusion. So it's going to be 4 turns. And hopefully going to see some catastrophic damage collapses towards the end. Fingers crossed. So, without further ado, Princeps, start your engines. The armies that we're going to be using for today's Titanic Clash are 2 identical forces. The traitor force from Legio Mortis will be a Warlord Titan and 3 knights from their supporting Knight House of House Malanax. And the Loyalist forces will be from Legio Atarus with their supporting knights from Knight House Kolchak. Both warlords are equipped with 2 volcano cannons, bellicosa volcano cannons that is, and a pair of Apocalypse missile launchers on the carapace. For the knight households, we've got a seneschal with a thermal lance and a close combat weapon, another knight with a thermal lance and a close combat weapon, and then a 3rd knight with a battle cannon and a close combat weapon. This is again the same for both knight household banners. Here we are, all set up and ready to go. Just very quickly, we're going to be using the advanced rules for this, but no optional rules. So specifically the reactor rules and the order rules. We've already rolled off to see who went first. David won the roll, but elected to give me priority, so I'm going to be going with the first turn. I think all that's left to say is a friendly handshake.
Good luck.
And wish you the best of British.
Cheers.
Atarus, turn 1. Strategy phase, round 1, with priority to Atarus. Normally you would start with your warlord for command checks, but I'm not going to give my warlord any special orders, so I'm going to go straight to my knight household banner, and I'm going to give them the full stride order. Their command check is 6 up, but they've got a seneschal in there now as well, so that gives them +2, so I need a 4 up for them to assign the order. Here we go. Oh, 9, that's great. So my knight banner, household banner, will be getting the full stride order.
Activation for Legio Mortis. I'm not going to issue any orders to the warlord. He's just going to advance under his own sort of steam. And then I'm going to issue the full stride order to the knight banner. Again, I need a command check. Usually it's 6, but because essentials in there, it's on a 4. So D10, I need a 4 up to issue the order. And fantastic, that's a 10, and they've been issued the full stride order.
Movement phase, round 1, with priority for Atarus. I'm going to activate my warlord first, and I'm going to push the reactor to give him extra movement. Here's the test. Ooh, okay, my reactor's going up by 2 pressure points. Having increased my reactor by 2 points, I've moved the Warlord Titan, and he's just unmasked himself from behind the rock to get a clear shot. Looking at options at the moment, either the Warlord for an obscured shot or maybe a cheeky shot into the Knight household from House Malanax.
Activation for House Malanax. The Knights have advanced 10 inches towards that large rock formation. We're a little bit worried about the Atarus Warlord there taking us out in the first round. Don't forget we did go full stride, so we will be moving the combat phase, so we should be comfortably in cover. So let's see how we go.
Atarus activation. I've activated the Knight household, and they've moved behind the large central rock formation. I want to move and try and intercept the other Knight household bound from Malanax. They're actually a bigger threat to my Warlord right now, as opposed to the Mortis Warlord.
Activation for the Mortis Warlord. All I've done is just advance the Warlord slightly from behind the cover to draw a bead on the Atarus Warlord.
Damage control phase, round 1. Atarus priority. The Warlord's going to roll 4 dice from his servitor clade in order to try and get rid of the 2 plasma pressure points on the reactor. I need 4 ups on 2 dice ideally, so that's what we're looking for. Here we go. Well, we've got 1. That's not bad. Combat phase, round 1. Atarus priority. We're activating the Atarus Warlord to fire first, and we're going to start with an Apocalypse missile barrage shot into the Mortis Warlord. We've got 10 shots. We've established that it's at least 50% obscured, so this is -2 to hit. Warlord's a ballistic skill 3, so I need 5s on 10 shots. Oh, that's quite a few hits actually. We've got 4 hits. David, do you want to put power to the void shields and push the reactor for the re-roll on the 1s?
No, I'm good. I'll chance it.
Okay, so rolling those saves then on 3 ups because your void shields are full. We've got 1 save, so the void shields are going down by 3. It was a good result, stripping 3 void shields from the Mortis Warlord. I'm not ready to put any more pressure on my reactor as yet. I want to save that for later turns, especially with a limited chance of breaching his shields with the volcano cannons. So we're going to stop shooting there.
Next activation for the House Malanax Knights. They had the full stride order issued to them in the strategy phase. They've advanced just under 10 inches to get into cover of that rock formation. We're hopefully going to spring a trap later on in the game.
Final Atarus activation. Activating the Knight banner. They've hugging the terrain. They've moved up closer, either to intercept the House Malanax Knights or maybe do a swift charge into the Mortis Warlord later on.
Final activation for the phase, the Mortis Warlord. He's training his Apocalypse missile launchers at the Atarus Warlord. Again, it's 50% obscured, So it's +2 to my ballistic skill. I need 5s to hit. Well, that was an absolutely terrible roll, and I scored absolutely nothing. So Atarus has got away with that one quite nicely.
End phase for round 1, and we've seen some interesting action in the first round. Obviously, both warlords eyeing each other up, but not much significant damage. Got some void shields off on Mortis, which was really great. The knights are proving to be quite sneaky, though. Clearly, there's going to be some knight-on-knight action later in the game, or maybe they'll slip past each other. I'm not sure yet, but that's all to come in future phase. What we're going to do now is remove the orders and go on to strategy phase for round 2. Strategy phase round 2. We're going to roll for priority now. Here's the Legio Atarus roll. Oh, 10. Let's see you beat that, Brains.
Oh, man, that's a bit keen. All right, now for Mortis. Oh, 7.
Well, either way. Okay, so Atarus has priority. Strategy phase round 2 with priority for Atarus. I'm going to assign an order to the Warlord Titan, and I'm going to give him the split fire rule. And it's a 3-up for his command check, so we're going to roll that now. That's an 8, so he's getting the split fire rule.
Legio Mortis activation. I am going to try and order the first fire on the Mortis Warlord. You know, my shooting in the previous turn was terrible, so I need to get some extra shots onto those void shields of the Atarus Warlord. I am going to be hopefully firing my Apocalypse missile launchers, but before I get ahead of myself, I need a command check on a 3+, and I get a 4. Fantastic news.
Atarus' second activation. I'm going to activate the Knight Household Banner, and we're going to go for the first fire order. I'm going to try and get a cheeky shot into the back of the Knight banner from House Malanax. You can just see them. It's going to be an obscured shot, but I want to try and get some damage on them before they activate. So here's the roll. I need 6 normally, but +2 for the Seneschal, so a 4-up. And 4-up it is, so they're getting the first fire order.
House Malanax activation. I've decided not to give them order. I just want them to be as flexible as possible and see if we can try and engage the opposing knights.
Movement phase round 2 with Atarus priority. I'm activating my Warlord Titan first. I'm going to try and get him out of line of sight for the Apocalypse missile barrage from the Legio Mortis Warlord. We're going to push the reactor though, because I need the extra movement. So pushing the reactor to move further. Here's the roll. Okay, so the reactor pressure's gone up by 1 point, but I can now move by 6 inches.
First Legio Mortis activation is the Warlord. Because I issued the first fire in the strategy phase, I get to fire in the movement phase with one weapon. So I'm going to try and pull the void shields down on the Atarus Warlord. I need some better shooting this turn. Dan did a really great effort of trying to get his Warlord out of line of sight, but unfortunately didn't quite manage it. But there is a -2 to hit, so I need 5s. Wish me luck. Not too bad. I managed to get 3 hits with the void shields. That's fine.
I'm not going to push the reactor to improve my save, so I'll just take these saves now on a 3-up. So I've still got 4 void shields. So I lose 2 void shields. Second Atarus activation. In the movement phase, I'm going to activate the Knight Household Banner from House Kolchak to first fire into the House Malanax Knights. Only the battle cannon on the lead knight is in range and has line of sight. So it's 2 shots, normally hitting on 4s, with -2 for the cover, hitting on 6s. So unlikely, but let's see what we can do. Oh, that's nothing.
Second activation for House Malanax in the movement phase. I've moved them towards the opposing knight faction. We're going to try and get some good shooting, hopefully, and take a few of those knights. So let's see what happens.
Damage control round 2. I'm going to roll my 4 Servitor Clade dice for the Warlord Titan from Atarus. I've got 2 points of plasma pressure from the reactor and 2 void shields down, so we're going to try and recover that now. I need 4s to take the heat off the plasma and 5s to restore a shield. So here's the roll. Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm going to take my void shields back up to full power and remove a plasma pressure.
First activation for the Mortis Warlord in the damage control phase. I've lost quite a few number of void shields, and I need to try and get them back. So I've got 4 servitor claims, so I need 5 to get those voids back. That's a great result. I've managed to get 2 void shields back.
Combat phase round 2. Again, Atarus priority. So we're going to start with the Atarus Warlord firing into the Mortis Warlord. He's got the split fire order on, so we're going to be shooting at other targets as well, but we're going to shoot at that primarily with the Apocalypse Launcher. 10 shots, again significantly obscured, so 5s and 6s needed to hit. Here's the roll. That's not bad. That's 4 hits. David, do you want to push the reactor to improve your void shield saves and get the rerolls of 1?
No, I'll risk it.
Okay, so David's void shield, or the Mortis Warlord shields, are on a 3 up so far. I'm going to roll those now. Okay, so that's 2 fails. So the Mortis Warlord shields go down by 2. With split fire, we're going to use the second shot from one of the volcano cannons into the Knight Malanax household. We've got to push the reactor though because of the draining roll. So let's see what happens. Okay, so the reactor's gone up by 2 points. We've established that the blast marker is over the front Knight and it's unobscured, so we need a 3 to hit. That's a direct hit. Again, we've already established that the blast marker covers the whole over the front Knight and then 2 other hits from the other Knights under the template. So we're doing 4 armor rolls, and this is what that looks like. Okay, so the 1 is discounted as a superficial hit, but we've got a 15, a 17, and an 18. That was a great result from the volcano cannon hit. We've managed to get a devastating hit and 2 critical hits. The first devastating hit does 2 structural points of damage. The second hit is a critical, removes the Knight instantly because of a critical, and does a further 2 points of damage, which kills the second Knight. The final hit is a critical as well, which on top of killing the final Knight also does a 2 more points of structural damage, which of course are irrelevant at this point. Having turned House Malanax into a smoking crater, House Kolchak have unrestrained access to the battlefield, and we're looking to exploit that in the next turn.
First activation for the combat phase, the Legio Mortis Warlord is firing his Apocalypse Missile Launcher onto the Atarus. We need some better hits this time. It is obscured again, so we're hitting on 5s. Oh, geez. We got 1, which is brilliant news. Dan, you're going to push your reactor to increase your shields?
Do you know what? I don't think I am. Good. I will just roll that 1 save.
Good choice. All right, 3 up for you, yes? Yep. Oh, managed to peel 1. That's great news. Little unfortunate there to only take down 1 void shield on the Atarus Warlord, but there we go. So we're now forced to shoot one of the volcano cannons at the Atarus. So first of all, we need a reactor check to see what happens. So we take 1 point of plasma, which isn't so bad. That's fine. And now it is a blast weapon, but we hit on a 5 because the target's obscured. We don't hit, unfortunately. It does scatter, so we'll work the scatter and come back to you. The shot did scatter, but fortuitously, it hit the rear Knight bang on, which was great. So we've got 2 hits under the template and then 1 for one of the Knights in the ensuing blast. So let's roll some damage. Not bad. So we apply the lowest first. So we've got a devastating hit, followed by a critical, followed by a critical. Wow, what an amazing shot. You know, we were hoping to take down a couple of void shields on the Atarus Warlords, but we actually ended up scattering and annihilating the Knight household there. You know, that strength 12 of the volcano cannon, that prevents the iron shields from getting a save. And, you know, when you rack up all the damage, the devastating, the critical hits, it wiped that household out. So that's fantastic news.
End phase round 2. Wow, what a round. It showed that Knights are quite handy, but they don't stand up much to sustained firepower. All that's left of the Knight household is a couple of smoking craters. We're just going to remove the order dice now. There's no ongoing effects that affect our Titans at the moment, so we're going to go straight into round 3. And I think we're looking at a bit of mano a mano action now. It's down to the Princeps Senioris to do the business. Strategy phase round 3. Legio Mortis got priority for this turn. We're not assigning any orders though, because we want to get maximum use out of our mobility and firepower, and the terrain is really hampering our shots. So it's just going to be straight into movement phase for round 2.
Movement phase, round 3. Priority goes to Legio Mortis. I am going to try and push the reactor because those cover saves have been great, but it's also hampered my ballistic skill, and those void shields on the Warlord are intact somewhat. So I'm going to push the reactor. Let's have a roll, see what we get. Okay, so we take 1 point of plasma, so that's not too bad. Let's make the move. Movement complete. The Mortis has just moved out into the open there. We're anticipating that the Atarus Warlord will do the same. Then we're just going to try and shoot each other off the board in the next turn.
So the Atarus activation in the movement phase, we're going to sidestep, but we're going to push the reactor to get the extra inch of movement, which should remove any of the intervening terrain and give us both a clear shot at each other. That's what we want. Here we go. Oh, that's terrible news. That's put my reactor in the orange. That's going to be quite dangerous come the damage control phase. With my movement complete, both targets are now unmasked and are shooting at each other unrestrained and unlimited by terrain. I'm a little bit worried now though, because the damage control phase is next and my reactor's currently in an orange state.
Damage control phase, round 3. Mortis has priority. I'm going to try and repair, so I'm going to try and vent some of the plasma and get some of my void shields back. I've got 4 servitor clades. I need 4s for plasma, 5s for void shields. Okay, well that's not bad. I'll take 1 of each back. That's great news.
Damage control phase for the first activation for Atarus. The Warlord's reactor is already in orange, so we've got to take a reactor overload test before rolling for any repairs. It's a D6 because it's orange, and let's see what happens. Looking for a low number. Oh, that's not a low number. 3 on the chart is the void shield collapse, so my void shields go away entirely. Having lost my void shields to an overheat, I'm now going to use my servitor clades to try and do some repairs. I need a 6 to bring my void shields back up, and then any other 5s I can use to heal void shields if I want to. So 4, 5s and 6s are all useful. Oh, there's the 6. That's great actually. That brings my void shield back, and then 2 points of my plasma reactor cools.
Combat phase, round 3. Target priority to Legio Mortis. Now, in a great turn of events, the shields are very low on the Atarus Warlord, so we're going to fire the Apocalypse missile launchers. We've got a clear line of shot now, which is great news, and we are hitting on 3s. That is a fantastic number of hits. That is 9 hits. Brilliant news.
So my Warlord has only got a 4-up void shield left with 1 pip left, so we're just going to take those saves now. I'm not going to push the reactor, so we're looking for 4-ups, going to need 9 of them. That's pretty close, but it's not 9, so my void shields have gone.
Continuing on with the Mortis, the Apocalypse missile launcher did a great job of stripping the void shields off the Atarus Warlord. Now we're going to fire the left volcano cannon. It is draining, so we need a plasma check, which we roll a blank, which is fantastic news. We don't get to add any plasma onto the dial. So now we need to hit. Need a 3, and we hit. That is fantastic news. Great news, the Mortis hit the Atarus Warlord. Now, because the whole of the template was centered over the model and its base, it's caused 2 hits, which is great. So first of all, we need to roll a location dice. We've got 2 hits on the head, and now we need an armor check. So it's the strength of the weapon plus a d6. So it's 12 plus 3. So we've got a 15 and a 14. And the damage there is 1 direct hit and a devastating hit, which essentially causes 3 points of damage. Great round of shooting from the left volcano cannon there, but now we're going to fire the right-hand side. So first of all, a plasma check. Oh, go out the board. Let's do it again. Okay, so I've taken 1 point of plasma, so that's fine. Now let's see if we can hitting on a 3. And we don't, we miss. So we will now do the scatter off camera and come back to you. The shot scattered 4 inches, so we still managed to clip the Atarus Warlord. Now I need a location. We've scored the leg, and then an armor check. So it's strength 12 plus 1, which is nothing superfield damage. So we were a little bit unlucky there.
That was some seriously heavy hitting from the Mortis Warlord. The Atarus Warlord is now going to return the favour, and we're going to start with an Apocalypse missile barrage. With 10 shots, hitting on 3s. Here we go. That's pretty good. We've got 7 hits there. Do you want to push the reactor to improve your get a re-roll on your void shield saves?
No, I'm going to risk it again.
Okay, so here we go. Here's David's void shield saves on 3-ups. So that's 3 points of shield damage. That's enough to take the void shields out. That was a great result from the Apocalypse missile launcher. Just enough hits to take out the Mortis Warlord shields. We're going to go on to the volcano cannons now and see if we can do some real damage to him. So firing first with the right hand volcano cannon. We're unobscured, needing 3s to hit. Oh, a draining check first, of course. So that's great. No additional plasma, heat or pressure. We're going to go straight onto the hit roll now, needing 3s to hit. Oh, that's a direct hit. So 2 hits on the Warlord Titan from the Mortis. The location is going to be body. And then 2 hits, and these are plus 12 because of the strength of the weapon. We've got a 15 and a 17. That was a great result from the hit. That's a devastating hit causing 2 points of damage, and a critical hit causing another 2 points of structure damage and putting a first critical onto that location. After a great first shot with a volcano cannon, we're going to try with a second one. Again, we're going to have to push the reactor in order to fire it. So we're going to take the plasma check now. Oh no, that's terrible. That's 2 points of plasma pressure. Doesn't stop me firing, of course. And we're needing a 3 to hit with the second cannon. It's a miss, so we're going to have to scatter that and come back to you. The scatter was quite small, managing to keep the hole over the base of the Mortis Warlord, meaning we've got 2 hits still. So the location of the hits, in the leg, and the damage is... So the one is ignored because it's superficial. The second one gives us a devastating hit on the leg, which is 2 structural points. End phase round 3. After quite a devastating round of shooting, we've got a bit more damage now on the Titans than we had done earlier in the game. The Legio Mortis Warlord has got an ongoing effect. It's got a reactor leak critical on its body, so its plasma reactor is going to go up by 1 point. There's no order dice to remove, so we're going to go straight into round 4.
Strategy phase, round 4. Priority goes to Mortis this turn. I won the roll-off, which is fantastic news. I'm going to try and order first fire to the Warlord because the Atarus Warlord has no void shield, so we're going to try and get a volcano cannon off. I need a command check though, which is a 3+. That's really good news. Hopefully we're going to fire the volcano cannon and do some serious damage.
Atarus activation. I've got quite a lot of serious damage on the Warlord Titan, and I need to get rid of some of that. So we're going to go for an emergency repairs command check and see if we can get that order off. Still on 3-up, and here's the roll. 7. That's great. So I immediately take an emergency repair check. These dice are +1, so 3s become 4s, 4s becomes 5, and so on. Here's the roll. That's fantastic. So I'm going to use the results to bring back my void shields and reduce my plasma by 1. Movement phase round 4, and the orders that are assigned to the Warlords mean that there's actually not going to be any movement. The Legio Mortis Warlord has got the first fire order, which means he can't move, and the Legio Atarus Warlord has got emergency repairs, which allows him to opt either to move or shoot, and clearly I want to shoot in the combat phase rather than move in the movement phase. So we're just going to stare each other down and see what happens next.
Movement phase, round 4. Priority goes to the Mortis Warlord. Now, due to our order, we've got first fire, which allows me to fire 1 weapon in the movement phase. Now, I had planned on firing the volcano cannon, but Dan luckily repaired his void shield. So he does have a void shield left. There's no point me using the volcano cannon now because I do risk increasing my plasma. So we're just going to fire the Apocalypse missile launcher. We are unobscured now, so we are hitting on 3s, 10 shots. Oh, well, not amazing. That's 3. That's 4 misses. Sorry, 5 misses. So 5 hits. And Dan, are you going to...
No, I'm not going to push my reactor, so I'll just take those saves on 4-ups.
Okay, no worries. Here we go. Oh, that was lucky there. So you did manage to save one, but the final void shield has gone, which is great news, leaving you exposed for the volcano cannons.
Atarus activation. The Warlord is opting not to move in the movement phase because he took the emergency repair order, and that gives him the option of either moving in the movement phase or shooting in the combat phase, and clearly I want to shoot.
Damage control phase, round 4. Priority goes to Legio Mortis. Well, we've got a bit of damage. You know, we've got some critical damage we need to repair. We've got no void shields currently, and we've got some plasma to vent. So let's roll the dice. 4 servitor clades. See what we get. Oh, that wasn't amazing, but we got a 5, and I'm going to use that to repair the critical damage on the body.
Atarus activation in the damage control phase. My reactor is in the orange, so we've got to take a reactor overload test. That's on a D6, and my void shield's already down, so let's see what happens. It's a 2, so the Atarus Warlord is taking a single strength 9 hit to the body. The armor test for the plasma explosion is... oh, it's a 1, so it's a superficial hit, and no damage is taken. Time to roll for the Warlord Titan's Servitor Clades. I've got 4 dice. My plasma reactor is still in the orange, and I've got no void shields at the moment, so we need to get those back. Looking for 5s and 6s. Oh, we've not got anything, just left out in the open.
Combat phase, round 4. Priority goes to the Mortis Warlord. The Atarus Warlord has no void shields, and it is stood bare, ready to be shot at. We were really lucky that Dan didn't get back any of his shield, so we're really lucky. As we're going to fire the left volcano cannon first. Let's see. We need a plasma check, so let's roll that. Perfect result. We don't advance the plasma reactor there. We need 3s to hit, so here we go. Fantastic news, we do hit, which means we score 2 shots onto the Warlord. Let's roll the location dice to see where we hit. Okay, we've got special, which means the body, which is fine. It's a strength 12 hit plus an armor check. So we've got 12 plus 5 is 17, and then plus 2 is 14. So we'll apply the 14 result first, which is devastating hit, which scores 2 points of damage. And the 17 causes a critical hit, which is 2 additional points and a critical hit. That's some good going. Next up, let's fire the right-hand side volcano cannon and hope for some similar damage. First of all, we need a reactor check, so let's roll that dice. So we take 2 points of plasma. That does put us into the orange, but we'll do that a bit later on. Now let's see if we can hit. We need a 3 up. And we do hit. That's fantastic news. Let's find the location of where we hit. And we hit the head. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, the head does have some damage on it already, so it's +1 to all these armor check rolls, plus the damage 12. So let's have a look at it. So we're 12, plus 5 is 17, +1 for 18. So that gives us a critical hit and 2 points of damage. And then the other one is 12 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 16. So that's a devastating hit, so another 2 points of damage. So we've caused some serious damage on that Warlord right now.
Atarus combat phase activation. My last turn and my last chance to try and take out the Mortis Warlord. There's an awful lot of damage now on the Atarus Warlord, and I'm taking numerous penalties to my hit rolls. You know, I'm hitting on 4s rather than 3s. So we're on the outside edge of possibility, but his void shield's down and I've still got functional weapons, so let's give this a try. The first shot we're going to take is from the right-hand volcano cannon, and we're going to target that into him. And first of all, with a draining roll, a plasma check. Oh, that's terrible. That's gone up by 2 points. Interestingly, that puts me in the red zone for the reactor, so I can't voluntarily push again. We're just going to have to fire 1, and hopefully it's going to make the hit. So here comes the hit roll, hitting on 4s. It's a miss, so we're going to have to scatter that and come back to you. The scatter was enough to get the whole off the base, but not enough to remove the entire template, so we've got a single hit on the Mortis Warlord. First of all, rolling for location. It's going into the weapon, and the damage for that is going to be a 16. Just need to randomize which weapon it is. On a a 1, 2, or 3, 4, we'll say it's one of the volcano cannons. On a 5 or a 6, it'll be the carapace weapon. So here we go. And it's the left-hand volcano cannon is currently disabled. That concludes shooting for the Atarus activation. My reactor being in the red means I can't voluntarily push it again, so I can't fire my second volcano cannon. And the only weapon I have remaining after that is my Apocalypse launcher, and that is not high enough strength to do any enough damage against any of the locations. Plus, the Mortis Warlord doesn't have any damage modifiers on its locations that would boost it sufficiently to do that damage. So that's the end of the combat phase. End phase round 4. That was a spectacular round of shooting. However, it wasn't enough to eliminate either of us. I think the Atarus Warlords come off marginally worse than the Mortis one. The Atarus Warlord does have its reactor in the red, and it has got a reactor leak critical on the body, meaning I've got to advance the reactor. If I can't do that because I'm in the red, I take a strength 9 hit to the body. So we're going to roll for that now. The damage track of structure points on the Atarus Warlord is on a +1 hole. So it's 9 for the reactor explosion, +1 is 10, plus the d6. That's a 12, so that's just a direct hit. So just one more structure point. Welcome back. And what what a climax to the game. I thought at least one of us was going to go in the end.
I was hoping that one of us was going to explode, but looking at it now, those Titans can take a lot of damage.
They can. I think this is something that people have found who've played a lot of games, that Warlords are incredibly tough.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a very different game once we get additional Titans in there. But I think for the purpose of this, it was an epic clash.
It was
an epic clash. So on to the points, because there are points involved in this, because competition is real. So we've worked out the points. The Atarus Warlord was structurally compromised. Yours wasn't. No. It was scarily damaged, but it wasn't structurally compromised. So that's a win for Mr. Brains. 10-0. Not an auspicious start for me, I think you'll find. But nevertheless, it was a great game. I really enjoy the game. I love the way it plays. I like the focus on managing that kind of those limited resources you've got, and some of that complexity. That's really, really interesting, I find.
There was plenty of times in the game where at the end where you're taking a lot of damage, and I was like, oh yeah, well I'm going to do in the next turn because I can just get a straight shot. But then I remembered, there's the repair phase and all that sort of jazz, and you can really pull it back, can't you?
You can, or you get enough back just to kind of take the edge off it,
tie you over.
So. Really enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that. We'd love to hear your feedback. This is a new format for the channel, obviously. I'm new to the channel as well, certainly in this capacity. I'm sure you're sick of my face on the heritage joke. But we'd love to hear your feedback. This game and the next one we film is going to go on YouTube.
Yes.
On the 30k channel, YouTube channel. Content from that point on is going to be in the 30k channel website.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd love you to come and subscribe and come and watch that going forward. Similarly, if you want to be on the channel, if you want to come on and play Adeptus Titanicus, not necessarily against me, if you've got a friend as well, and you've got the pair of you've got some lovely painted Titan armies, we would love to have you on. We're going to put the contact details down here, but ostensibly, for the time being, contact David at the30kchannel.com. There's going to be an Adeptus Titanicus channel.
There will be.
We do need to talk to some of the techno geeks that we keep locked up in the back first, sort that out. But that will be coming. But for the time being, if you contact that email address, I say David's probably just put it across the bottom. We'll take that stuff and David will forward that on to me. Looking to get stuff on as soon as possible. So if you've got painted stuff and it looks cool, get us in touch and send us some photos and we'll sort you out. Not an awful lot much more to say other than say...
No, Dan's running 18 now. I think he's done an absolutely spectacular job. I'm not very good at playing this game. My focus is 30k, but Dan has done a great job of guiding us both through the rules and producing these games for us, which is great. We've learned a lot from this, I think, haven't we?
It's been really great. I think we're getting much closer to the process being right. Obviously, we want to hear your feedback too. Yeah. So if you think we've missed stuff or there's things you want to see that we're not showing you, please let us know. We'll look and try and incorporate some of that as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this going forward, and Dan's the best man for this job, and we're looking forward to see what he comes up with. So great work.
So all that's left to say is thank you for coming on, David, to your own channel.
Yes, Mike, it's been a pleasure.
And we'll look forward to seeing you again. And don't forget, if your reactor's not in the red, you don't love the Emperor.